Hi everyone, my name is Tasha Bland and this is my reflection for Module 3. From watching Professor Wesch's video and lecture, I learned just how much the internet has transformed over the years. Instead of people just looking up information and sending links to each other, the internet has now linked family, friends, coworkers, locally, globally, and nationally. In his lecture, Professor Wesch talks about how awkward it can be to record your first video blog, and I completely agree. You're talking to yourself, looking into a webcam, and trying not to overthink what you're saying while you're trying to remember what you're saying, but you're basically just talking to yourself into a mirror almost. The educational podcast that I listened to was by Angela Watson and her Truth for Teachers podcast. She's currently on season 5 of her podcast right now, and she does them weekly and uploads them on Sundays usually. And she motivates and inspires teachers to continue teaching with the same passion that they started with. In the podcast I listened to, she talked about maintaining a growth mindset instead of giving in to difficulties and giving up. She also mentioned being an example to the students on how to handle stressful or tough situations so that the students can learn from watching you and how you as a teacher handle your experiences or challenging times. I think that podcasts in a classroom could be beneficial if a student misses a day because they were sick or just they need help on homework. They could go back and play the podcast to help them figure out the problem or figure out the homework or just kind of like a lesson review on what they did on the day that they missed. However, the downfall would be students not paying attention in class because they are solely relying on the podcast to prepare them for the test or prepare them for what they should have been listening to while in class. I personally do not think that social network sites like Facebook and Twitter should be used in the classroom because there's far too much room for distraction. I could see having the students in a photography class use like Instagram in order to gain inspiration for the next project, but there's still a lot of room for distraction using that as well. For bookmarking, I chose Reddit because I've heard of it before, but never actually used it or explored the site at all. Honestly, to me, it's just a bunch of randomness that goes from serious things like how suffering from a concussion can higher the risk of suicide in a person to a puppy that is overwhelmed by new and exciting things and is randomly finding its bark. It's just a lot of randomness to me. It doesn't really do much for me. It probably will not be something that I use in the future. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you.